welcome once again to the Latino Book and Family Festival. A special thanks to our partners who make this possible, especially My Point Credit Union, helping members make the most out of their finances. In this session, we present an interview with a national community leader. With an associate's degree from Stockton College and a teaching credential, Dolores Huerta began her career in service of marginalized California farm workers and their children. Later, she turned her efforts from the classroom to lobbying California state legislators to help improve people's working conditions. In late 1950s, Huerta joined Cesar Chavez and his work with the Community Service Organization. By 1962, they co-founded the National Farm Workers Association, which helped pass the first law that granted California farm workers collective bargaining rights, the Agricultural Labor Relations Act in 1975. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, Dolores Huerta worked as a lobbyist, contract negotiator, and fundraiser for several causes, including immigration, farm workers' health, and workers' legislative representation. From 1988 to 1993, Huerta served on the Commission on Agricultural Workers. During 1990s and 2000s, she worked to elect more Latinos and Latinas to political office and established the Dolores Huerta Foundation in 2022. Dolores Huerta received the Eleanor Roosevelt Human Rights Award in 1998 and the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012. She is a board member of the Feminist Majority Foundation, the Secretary-Treasurer Emeritus of the United Farm Workers of America, and the president of Huerta Foundation. Interviewing her today, we have Kurt Whistler. He is the president of Western Publication Research, whose programs include Latino 24/7 Media Group and WPR Books. He is the co-founder of Empowering Latino Futures, which is the nonprofit that puts together community, education, and outdoor programs, including this Latino Book and Family Festival. Welcome to this interview session.
For over 6 decades, you have excelled at putting the rights and needs of others ahead of anything else. What in your background created that commitment?
Well, I have been very fortunate in that the way that I was raised, my mother always said to us when we were kids, if you see somebody that needs help, it's your duty and responsibility. It's a responsibility to help them, and don't expect something in return, because when you do expect some kind of compensation or recognition, you are taking away from the grace of that act. I was a Girl Scout for 10 years, and that kind of reinforced this whole idea of service to others. And I have been very fortunate that when I learned how to do grassroots community organizing, I was able to be able to put those values, that philosophy of my mother, St. Francis, the Girl Scouts, to put that into action. So I have been very, very blessed.
I know it was at the CSO where you met Cesar, Community Service Organization, which was such a groundbreaking organization in the history of Latinos here in California.
Yeah, the Community Service Organization, which we can really say was the first civil rights organization for the Latino community in California and Arizona, because we had chapters in Arizona also, made some very, very great changes. We were able to get ballots in the Spanish language, the driver's licenses in the Spanish language, and passed a really important law that if you were a legal resident in the United States, you could get public assistance. That's assistance to the blind, to the disabled, to people, old age pensions to the people, and also aid to needy children. So today, millions and millions of people in the United States that have not yet been able to get their citizenship, but if they are legal residents of the United States, they can get public assistance, including that aid to needy children. So these were very important measures. Also, getting Latinos elected to office. Eduardo Roybal, the first Latino to the City Council of Los Angeles and to the Congress of the United States. That was the result of the type of voter registration and get out the vote that we had in CSO. And of course, we have to always remember the man who taught us how to organize, and we honor him every single day, and that was Fred Ross Sr. Yes, an Anglo who became, I like to say, the father of the Chicano movement.
Thank you for those insights, because the CSO, in my mind, is one of those hidden gems that needs to be talked about a lot more, and help give birth to the UFW and that.
Well, we know that the community service organization is where Cesar Chavez and I and many others learned how to do that grassroots community organizing that Fred Ross taught us. And also the importance of we do that civil work of voter registration and voter education. And without that background of CSO, the United Farm Workers, I don't think we would have been able to organize the United Farm Workers, because we learned how to do that organizing work. And that is something that we want to share with everybody, because this can also be the foundation of how we go forward to make sure that we get rid of the discrimination that exists against Latinos in our country, to erase the ignorance out there. And so that we can move forward as a population, because we know that our numbers are growing, but we still need stronger, better representation for our community. And not only that, but whatever happens here in California, we know that that we can, that goes east. And by the way, we are building a Peace and Justice Center here in Bakersfield, which will include an organizing academy, so that we can share our organizing methods and practices with other groups and with other people. So we can grow that people power that we need. So we can grow that people power that we need.
What's the timeline on the center?
It'll probably, we already have the first $15 million. We still have to raise another $7 million, but I think we're going to break ground probably in the spring. As soon as all the permits are cleared, we've already got the design. And in fact, maybe we can send you a picture of it that you can show if people want to contribute.
We will definitely help get the word out for you, Dolores. Mm-hmm. That is wonderful, and I know a lot of people. We will definitely be putting that up on here as we do the final editing. And
okay, good. Thank you.
But Dolores, from your union, community, and civil rights efforts over the decades, I feel you are the most trusted Latino in the United States. What responsibilities come with the trust of others?
Well, I believe that we all have that responsibility to share the knowledge that we have, to share the power that we have, whatever we have learned in order to be effective and to make our world a better place, that we have to share this. The other thing that we have to do is always work with our allies, work with people that are like-minded like we are, and again, so that we can grow our power and always be in sync. And while we each have to kind of focus on the issues that are particularly important to us, we can never forget to always support the other issues, issues like the Black Lives Matter movement, ending gun violence, reforming police conduct in our societies, the LGBTQ community, and of course, global warming. So these are issues that we all have to be engaged in. And also, of course, never forgetting that the way that we make the changes is that we have to get out there and be very, very involved in our voting and campaigning to elect good people to office. This is our responsibility. And yes, we have to do this.
Excellent, excellent. I want to make sure we credit you with one of your many landmarks. Can you give us a backstory on your first using "Si se puede" as a rallying cry?
Well, "Si se puede," that slogan was actually born in Arizona, where Cesar was doing a 25-day water-only fast. And they had passed a bill in Arizona that if farm workers went on strike, they would go to prison. If anybody said boycott, they would also go to prison. So Cesar did that fast to protest that law in Arizona. While I was organizing some of our Latino professionals, they would say to me, "Oh, Dolores, you can't do this in Arizona, only in California." And my response to them was, "Sí se puede in Arizona." When I reported that meeting to our rally that we had that evening, and I said to the group there, my response was, "Sí se puede," everybody jumped up and they started clapping and chanting, "Sí se puede, sí se puede." And so I like to say that "Sí se puede" came from the universe so that all of us can use it. And we know that "Sí se puede" means, yes, I can, but more importantly, it means, yes, we can, because we know that to be able to change things, that we've all got to work together and we've all got to use a direct nonviolent action. And that is how we make the changes that need to be made. We know that things have become better for Latinos in the USA since President Biden became his presidency. And of course, one of the issues that President Biden is trying to pass right now is to have free community college for 2 years for all of the citizens here and the residents of the United States of America. We already have that in California, but we want to get it for the rest of the country. Also, universal health care, so that, healthcare, and not only that, but also universal child care, so that we as mothers don't have to worry about where our children are going to be taken care of, and that they can become educated at the same time that they are being taken care of. So we have a lot that we can really think about what's going to be coming in the future, and we have to support President Biden and all of the people that are in the Congress that are fighting for these issues. So we have a lot that we're going to be able to do together in the future to make sure that our country becomes stronger. And here in California, as you know, we always lead the way. We always lead the way. And so I just want to say to everybody, we've just got to be civically engaged, get out there, register the people to vote, become citizens if you're not. And that we can make sure that we can guarantee that we're going to have progressive leadership in the state of California and get all of those things that we need to have, which we don't have right now. Si se puede, we can make it happen.
What issues has Biden and his staff yet to address that you feel should come up in the next couple years?
We don't know exactly if all of President Biden's agenda is going to be approved by the Senate, because as we know, it's a very close 50-50 divided, and we've got a couple of recalcitrant senators and the Democrats, Senator Christian Sinema from Arizona and Joe Manchin from West Virginia. And one of the things that may be sacrificed in this Congress right now is immigration reform. But we do know that there are a number of senators that are up for re-election in the next election in 2022. So if we can all come together and get busy, and maybe even help in some of those other states, so we can get senators that will commit to passing immigration reform. And this is, of course, important for our DACA students, for those that are on temporary protective status, because they are kind of in limbo. And we know that people have now been waiting decades to get that path to citizenship here in the United States, like all immigrants before them, since the origin of this country, that I should say the origin of this government, because the country was already here, that this will eventually happen. So we have to, but we know that the only way that we can make that happen is that we are the ones that have to work very hard to elect good people that will vote for immigration reform.
Excellent, excellent. Can you share an overview of the Dolores Huerta Foundation's programs and mission?
Well, our goal with the Dolores Huerta Foundation is to organize people at the grassroots level so that they can take the power, so that they can make the changes in their community. They have to understand that they are the only ones that can do this, that they cannot just sit back and wait for somebody else to do it for them. Currently, we have been engaged in vaccine clinics, going door to door, getting people signed up for their vaccine appointments. We have been doing many food banks all over the 3 counties, which is Kern, Tulare, and Fresno, and even up to the Antelope Valley, which is part of Los Angeles County. We have a huge youth program that we have in our foundation. And one of the main focuses that we have is on education. We just signed an agreement with the current high school district because they had expelled, thrown out of school over 2,000 students, Black and brown students primarily. And we sued them and we won. And now they have to change their practices to eliminate the implicit racial bias that exists in the school system. And we know that this is true in many other school districts. Our foundation is we are organizing the parents and the students in over 20 school districts so that the parents and the students can go to the school districts and tell them the things that need to be changed in their school. This is both on the elementary school level and also at the high school level. And this is very important because this discrimination against students of color exists all over California and Arizona and Texas and all of these other states, including New York State. Our students of color are not getting an equitable education. And so we have to say to everybody, check it out and see what's happening with your local school board. What kind of a curriculum do they have? Do they have anything in the curriculums that is really going to have Latino children be proud of who they are? Is there anything in their curriculum that talks about their history, about their ancestors and the great civilizations that we had in South and Central America? Because often it does not exist, okay? And our children need that knowledge so that they can feel strong. We are also, of course, very committed to doing voter registration and voter education and getting all of our folks to participate in the voting process, because ultimately we know that this is the only way that we can make the changes that we need. Oh, and we also encourage and train our people, call them vecinos, our vecinos unidos, how to run for office and how to get elected. And many of them now serve on different boards, recreation boards, city councils, and also school boards. So this is important that we take the power. And I hope that everybody does the same thing. Check into your local school board and see what curriculums they are teaching the children to make sure. And by the way, you know, in the state of California, every school district gets their money directly from the state. And there are special funds that are being spent for low-income children, for English learners, for foster children. And yes, community members can go to the school board meetings, and when they show the budget, and you can also get a copy of the budget to make sure that the money that is coming from the state is actually being spent the way that it should be to help those vulnerable children in their education. So we are very, very busy. We did a lot of work on the census. We're currently working on redistricting because we know that the way that they draw the lines are either going to help or hurt people that we need to have elected to office. So we're very, very busy.
Excellent advice, Dolores. And I especially appreciate that you brought up the school boards. When Julian Nava was first elected to the LA Unified School District back in 1967, there were only 4 Latinos on school boards here in California. Today, it's over 700. And yet, wow, to reach true parity, it would need to be over 2,000 Latinos on school boards here in California. So there's still quite a ways to go. What other programs do you have coming up with the Dolores Huerta Foundation, and how can others become more involved with the foundation?
Well, right now we are focusing, as I said before, on education, on our youth program, and on training our community leaders to be able to get on some of these boards, including, by the way, water boards, where their voices are very sorely needed. And we are going to be making a concerted effort in this next year to raise money for the Dolores Huerta Peace and Justice Cultural Center right here in Bakersfield, California, where we are going to be having our child care center, a credit union, an organizing academy, and a theater so that we can have performances and invite the community to come in where they can have their celebrations also. So it's going to be open to all community. And of course, we're going to have an organizing academy so that we can share with everyone our organizing methods, on community organizing, political organizing, even virtual organizing, the kind of stuff that we've been doing that we just did recently on the recall election. So it will be open to the public. And we want to invite everybody. And if people want to support this, we still have to raise money so that we can finish. We've got our first $15 million, but we have to raise another $7 million to complete the process. And as I said before, it will be open to the world. It will be open for everybody. We want to share the successes that we have in organizing so that other people can learn our methods and take that back to their communities to improve the things that need improvement in their area. And would like to show you a copy of our architectural plan there, and you will see how actually beautiful it is, because we want to honor the people that really created the wealth here in the San Joaquin Valley. As you know, this is where we produce the largest part of the food production here in the state of California, both fruits and vegetables. And we want to share this with everyone. And we want to honor all of the people that really created the wealth, like our indigenous people, the Black people that came here, many people who were slaves. They were escaping slavery and they came here to California. We have, of course, the Mexicans, but we also have the Okies, the people that came escaping from the Dust Bowl when their ranches were being ruined by all of the dust, and they came to California. And then we have the Filipinos and the Japanese and the Chinese, Cambodians, Hmongs, all of these people that came here, Koreans that came to California to make this country, to make the valley very, very successful and rich. So we want to honor them in our center, and we will be having some types of murals that will be dedicated to all of the people that made the sacrifices.
Excellent. In the Organizing Academy in particular sounds like such a wonderful, almost worldwide type thing, because with today's technology, I'm sure you're going to have students not only from across the U.S. tuning in, but elsewhere.
Exactly.
And it's about time to take organizing to that next level.
Exactly. That's what we intend to do. It's all about, forming more leaders that will fight for the movements of peace and justice, and of course, for a new world of green energy, so we can stop global warming. So thank you very much. It was wonderful to be with all of you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dolores. And it certainly takes a 91-year-old brilliant leader to take a lot of people into that 21st century. And we appreciate that you haven't rested on your laurels, that you continue nonstop to push for those issues that are of importance to everybody.
Yeah, and we just want to remind everybody that, remember this, and if we were here and present, there were a couple of things I would say to you. First, I would say to you, turn to the person next to you and say, hello, relative, because we are all one human race, okay? We don't have a lot of races. We only have one, the human race. We have a lot of ethnic groups, cultures, nationalities, but only one human race. And the other thing is, remember that we have the power. And if we were here in person, I would ask you that. I would say, who's got the power? I would expect you to say, we've got the power.
We've got the power.
And what kind of power? The answer is people power. Always remember that we have the power. But if we do not act on that power, basically, it's like we are extinguishing and forgetting that we have the power. So always remember that. And si se puede, I can do it, we can do it, all together. Si se puede. Gracias.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you, Dolores. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you for joining this session. Picture book, Stock Market Investing for Minority Teens and Friends. Carlos Osvaldo Gomez. Do you dream of being rich one day? If you truly want to be rich, you must learn to invest in stocks. This book, specifically for minority teens, will teach you how the stock market works. Build Wealth with Stocks. Find the book at Amazon.com. Carlos is originally from Chihuahua, Mexico. He has a Master's of Education and currently teaches science and squeezes in some time to run a personal finance and success inspiration blog. A special thank you to My Point Credit Union for sponsoring this session. Visit them at mypointcu.com or any of their locations across San Diego County, helping members make the most out of their finances. And thank you to everyone who supports this programming. You can find us at lbff.us or on our Facebook page at Latino Book and Family Festivals.